Welcome to the Business Octopus. My name is Avon Collis. This is generally about digital transformation and information around like tech and growing yourself and your business with the power of automation. So I like to talk about a few things around my experiences in running this kind of business, but also in dealing with customers and their challenges. So Woody Allen was once quoted as saying 80% of success is showing up. I'd probably say it's probably more like 90, 95 or something like that. Obviously, yeah, you've got to have a skill, you've got to have some talent, but quite a lot of times, people get to know who you are, they understand the value that you bring, and then they can associate that to you and then give you opportunities. So those opportunities may not come along if they don't know you. So if you think there's a marketing saying, having a business without marketing is like wetting your pants in a dark suit. You get a warm feeling, but no one else knows about it. So that's part of showing up, is that other people can see that you're present, to see that you're doing things, then they know who to go to. Whereas if you just stay in your back room, you could be the smartest person, have the best business idea, but if you're never out there and engaging with people, no one's going to know it. No one's going to know about it. So business is a people sport. It involves getting involved with people. And whether that's your customers, whether that's your staff, whether that's any other kind of like stakeholder that has some level of interaction with your business, some involvement, some decision making, maybe they set the rules for the environment, like government or something like that. So all business relates back to a human. And that's why, we're in sort of the relationship game. So building relationships, tracking, understanding, managing, improving, and scaling. So success is showing up. I'm showing up every week. And if you heard me on other weeks, or if you watch any of my other videos, you'll know this is not my usual voice. I've lost my voice a little bit because I was yelling a lot yesterday, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So first of all, yesterday was Anzac Day, which is, if you're not familiar with it, Australia, we have our, military Memorial Day is Anzac Day, 25th of April, commemorates a battle that signifies a lot around, the Australian soldier and, the values that come with that. So as a ex-defense member, myself, ex-infantry, Australian infantry, Anzac Day is a pretty big deal. So I went to an Anzac Day event, and obviously I go and wear my medals, but I had an opportunity, and that was kind of presented to me at the last moment, like the day before, there's a game called 2-Up. If you're not familiar with it, it's like a little betting thing. It's a tradition on Anzac Day. You have a little paddle, a little bit of wood, and you put 2 pennies or coins on it, and then you flip the coins, and then people bet on whether it's going to be heads or tails or odds. So I've never done it before. I've watched it, I've placed a bet, but a lot of times when opportunities come up, people tend to shy away from them. And I want to say, just take every opportunity. I had no idea what I was doing, but I YouTubed the hell out of it the night before, and I did a whole bunch of research. And I ended up not only calling the 2-Up, I had a microphone for the 8,000 people there could listen to me. I had the camera, and then I was broadcast on a live major television off to the side. And some people shy away from being seen, being visible. But in business, you really can't do that. You need to be visible. You need to be seen. You need to be shown to be doing something, ideally, for the community or getting involved in things. And the more people see you, the more people speak your name, become familiar with you, then that just helps you phenomenally in business, because people can have a conversation with you and they recognize you, or they have some rapport with you, even if it's one-sided. For example, if I'm speaking to the camera right now, I can't meet you. You can meet me, but I can't meet you. But this time of year is a funny thing, and I'll get into that in a second. But the Anzac Day tradition, where I'm standing up on stage basically, and I have a whole bunch of people looking at me, they get to build some level of rapport, some level of relationship with me, because I'm the guy that did the 2-Up, instead of I'm just another face in the crowd and no one has any idea. So if I try to have a conversation with someone, try to speak with some level of authority, people don't know me and I don't come across with that same level of respect. Yes, what I'm talking about has nothing to do with business. I'm not getting up and giving a business speech, but people can still build a relationship. They can have some positive memory of you, and that can become very powerful and very impactful. One thing, we talk about showing up. So that's taking an opportunity to do something in the community, whereas other opportunities or other showing up might be going to networking events, or other showing up might be going to business meetings, or jumping on Zoom calls or doing live streams, getting in front of people and showing up. People want to know what you're about, what you're doing. And the more people see that, the more they build not only the rapport, but some level of trust. There's familiarity. They kind of get to know what you're about. They can start to see, the more that you observe someone, the more you have the opportunities to observe their failings and their bad behaviors. And that might give you forewarning. So if they don't see any bad behaviors, or, maybe you do your hair something they don't like, that something insignificant failing, that just builds more trust. I think a lot of times, when people try to show up, they try to show up too perfect. My shirt's a bit old. I've not done my hair. I haven't shaved. I don't look horrendous, but I try to show up as just my normal self. I'm here. I haven't artificially put any layers over me. There's no filters. There's no AI. These sorts of elements help build a trust level. They help build a relationship level. Because if I'm going to go and meet someone in real life, they don't want to have this glossy view of who I am and then they're bitterly disappointed when they meet me in real life. I'd much rather present my actual self, and it just provides a much better human connection. All right, so showing up. Success is showing up. I think showing up is good in not only the relationship sense, but how do we deploy that? How do we actually use that in real life? In terms of making opportunities happen, no opportunity come your way if no one speaks your name, if no one knows who you are. I'm not going to walk up to some random in the street and go, here is an amazing business opportunity. I'm just going to walk straight past and ignore them. So it would be much better if I build that rapport and I build those relationships, even if you don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think that every relationship or every interaction is good. It's just how good and in what way. Sometimes an interaction could be a fleeting interaction on a bus. Well, the good thing is that you made that person's day. Smile, be friendly. You don't have to be, just stare everybody down. Other interactions where maybe there's someone who's not a good fit for your business. Well, the good thing is that you found out that they're not a good fit for your business, particularly if you're in the networking space. But, I'm a connector, so I like to find out who they are and then redirect them to where they should go. Please be introduced to this person. And that's part of showing up as well, is when you're connecting the dots, connecting the people. Now you're building a positive, removed side benefit that is not necessarily directly beneficial. But let's just say, here's irrelevant person to me, A, to an irrelevant person, B. They might be perfect for each other. And by connecting those two people, they then get to know that I'm a connector and have a positive spin-off or a positive side effect that's attributed to me. And then they have networks. They have people that they know. There are people in the world that are not right for them, but are probably really good for me. So those connections can be quite valuable. Obviously, manage your time and, try to be a little bit more targeted where you can, but, don't be rude. Don't turn people away. There is a place for everybody. Confucius once said, maybe it was Sun Tzu. Anyway, the skilled employer of men knows how to find jobs for the strong, the weak, the sick, the brave, everything. So making the right connections is probably the most important thing here. And that's showing up. That's showing up in the relationships of people around you. That's showing up in the conversations that you're having. That's, listening, not just go, oh, here's my sales pitch and I'm going to throw that at you for the next 5 minutes while you recoil away and pretend to be interested. Or, if you're on Zoom, generally people are clicking away, typing emails. They're not listening at all. So it's genuine listening, taking the information in and then go, who can I connect you with? Who can I help you with? Even if it's not for you, doesn't matter. Maybe you can educate them on how that relationship should go. That's what I'm constantly doing in my networking groups. So speaking about networking is showing up. No, networking is showing up in real life. This is showing up digitally, but it's very one way. I can't connect with you so much because all I get is a little chat feed over in the corner, which is only via text. And yes, sometimes I do engage with people. Now, I did mention that, this time of year is a challenge. That's because Anzac Day, which I was talking about earlier, if you just tuned in, is a public holiday. And today is Friday, the gap between the weekend. And everybody likes to take the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday as a long weekend and go somewhere else. So it's probably hard to find anyone at this time of day who is going to be tuning in live stream. However, I have done these before, and I don't get to see every metric of who's on every channel, but I have done these before. And I've gotten up in the morning and gone, I'm really tired. I don't think anybody's watching anyway. I'll just skip a day. And on the day that I did that, I had people calling me and go, where were you? I was tuned in. I was ready to go. Not angry. Like, they're just like, are you okay? Is everything all right? What's happening? You know, we're excited to hear from you. So being present enough, then having an absence is actually really powerful because, you know, one, people are watching. Two, people care. When you're not there, they want to see you back. So that's an element of success is that showing up. And the result of that showing up then means that when you don't show up, people are concerned for you. So I think that that's pretty powerful. And that's kind of, it's a nice little positive benefit to say that I get a little warm, fuzzy feeling that someone is listening and somebody cares. So it's a nice little bit of a reward, I guess, for all of the hard work. Sometimes it can feel a little bit one way. And even though, you know, I'm saying a lot of this now and I'm looking at my live stream count because it's a long weekend and there's probably not a lot of people in here, this is going to be a recording. So people are going to come back and they're going to watch it. And they do. And I see the stats and I see how long they watch for. So it's still valuable to show up. I've got this in my calendar every week to spend at least half an hour just talking through some ideas and sharing some thoughts for the week. So sharing that is going to benefit somebody somewhere. And that's just showing up. So on the other things of networking, some things don't go to plan. Like I said, this is the day after a public holiday and before a weekend. So going to plan is not having a whole bunch of people pop in live. I run another networking group as well, a dinner, and that one also only had a handful of people that turned up. But, you know, the week before we had like 50. So it's a brand new group. So it's hard to get a new group going. And the moment you turn up, you do 1 or 2 sessions and no one turns up, and then you give up, is you may as well not have tried. You may as well not have started. You need to give these things a red hot go, and over time it will build. I'm basically building 3 networking groups from zero all the way up to a full composite every week. And my Melbourne group, or my Australian group, on the Monday nights, that has about 15 people in it now. And that started with me. Then I had one other person. Then I had 3 people. Then it went up, then it went down. And now we've got consistent people coming along. The other thing is on the Thursday night group, which is the US group. That's quite late for me. I usually wake up on a Friday pretty tired because it's been a very long day. And I still show up and I still do these live streams. So on the Thursday night, we had less people. Again, a handful. But, you know, some of those people were away because it is a public holiday in Australia. And yes, some Australians attend the US group. But still, we ran it. And I still had some people there that I know, that I've seen on a regular basis, that I like, that I trust, that I have built relationships with. And they're showing up just as much. So not only do you show up and get to show yourself to other people, you get to see the other people that show up. Then you know who the decision makers are, who the game changers, the action takers are. So that's kind of a two-way street. But yeah, small attendance is not the end of the world. I would definitely keep going because, you know, from little things, big things grow, and it's just going to take a little bit of time. And then numbers beget numbers. When people see movement, they see activity, they get excited, they come along, and it attracts more. So even though I've got a small group, you know, it started with 5, then it's 6, then it's 7, then we're at 15, I would imagine that 15 will more quickly, like exponential growth curve, go to 20 or 30 or 40. So that's what we're trying to build here. But that doesn't happen without consistency, and it doesn't happen without showing up. Speaking of exponential growth curves, if you're watching this and you're on YouTube, we've gone from at 700 subscribers about 2 months ago, and now I have 7,000. So consistency, even though it doesn't seem like much is happening at the time, can really compound very, very quickly. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please do give us a like, a subscribe, and a comment. So talking about commitment, yeah, people see it, it happens, it's all the way around you. And when you're showing commitment, you get to see the other people who are showing commitment. Now you know who to do business with or who to place more importance on because you know that they're going to make stuff happen. And it takes time. You just can't rock up to, particularly with things like networking events where you need to build those relationships. You need to have those conversations. You need to get to know people. And sometimes it takes a few chats to really get that bit of nugget of gold out of their head. You know, they've had a conversation with you and they've said, I do this. And it's not until you connect the dots somewhere, and maybe I've heard that same information from that same person 5 times, but something hasn't linked up. And then the next time I hear it, or after the right amount of minimum viable dose, you know, they've provided me with the information several times, and then bang, I get that aha moment. I'm like, I have to connect you to this person. Some of the connections I've done should have been obvious in the first conversation, but they weren't. And when I got around to it, when I had that aha moment, it was really, really impactful. And I made some big deals happen, you know, for other people. And same. Other people have made some big deals happen for me because I build a network of network building advocates. So I'm going to throw it out there. If you want to join, you can join the Relevate community, and that's where we teach some of these skills. So if you're watching, head on over there, create a free account, get to know us, come along to some Zooms, and we'll show you what some of the techniques that we're using. Okay, so we talked about showing up, but there's a couple of other ways to show up. So yes, there's networking. That's showing up physically, right? Or personally, in a human way. You can show up asynchronously, and we kind of covered that. YouTube live stream. This is going to boil down into a recording that is then going to be accessible 24/7, 365. But there's other ways to show up, you know, particularly with service marketing or intangibles like this, you know, like you're working through Zoom or you're doing a service that happens over email or something. It's not real. You can't touch it. Like, yeah, you can smear your screen with your fingerprints if you like, but there's nothing to connect the person to you. So you need to make some level of tangibility. You need to make it so you can touch it. So one of the ways that I do that is I created a coffee brand. So basically, I send it to customers, and sometimes people that join our network, and sometimes anyone that I'm trying to develop a deeper relationship with. And it might go with some flyers or like capability statement or a booklet. So yeah, showing up physically. I created a coffee brand, and it's basically corporate gifting. So it allows me to put my logo, my brand, and put a feeling into the hands of the user or of the customer. So, you know, like people do mouse pads, they do pens. I think they end up in landfill pretty damn quickly because everybody does pens, everybody does mouse pads, everybody does, you know, stubby coolers, whatever it is that you're using. It's been done before. There are promo companies that just churn this crap out and they put your logo on it. But I don't think I recall a time where I've really cared about someone's particular branded mousepad or pen. Pens, I got a cup with about 50 of them, and I'm constantly throwing them out, and I don't recall a time where I've ever proactively looked at the logo and gone, I'm going to use that company, or these guys are awesome. Yeah, it's just a pen. And I know there is some level of marketing cut through. Yes, there is recognition, brand recognition that comes from that way, and there is some benefit to doing it. I'm not saying don't do promo gear or stuff. But I think, you know, coffee is great because it provides connection. You're having a conversation over a coffee. You go for a business meeting for a coffee. You know, maybe if you drink tea, you could send tea, but the point is the same. It's something that people can connect with, create a feeling with. So we toyed with the idea of doing some nice tea. We're going to do some like custom branded tea for a while. And the idea is that we want to bring calm. But coffee was easier because, well, I drink a lot of it, and you know, often I'm doing my work. I've got my handy dandy coffee cup, and sending beans, well, it's perceived to be worth a little bit more. So anyway, long story short is show up physically. There was Flight Centre, they're a travel company in Australia. One of the reasons, or they could have been a completely online store. They don't need to be anywhere physically. But one of the reasons that they did have shops everywhere is that a lot of the travelers would like to see the little flip books and see the magazines. Now, this has changed somewhat now with an explosion in digital marketing, digital technologies, and COVID. However, before that, they could have been online a long time ago, but they had in stores, like shops in shopping centers with tons of flyers and books, because the older generation that were traveling more would like to go in and have a tactile relationship with the books, with the travel books, and be able to see the glossy magazines with the beautiful travel destinations. But now everything, like everyone's videoing like crazy when they like Instagram and all those sorts of things. So that's changed a little bit, but there was still a very strong marketing impact that happened because they had the in-house books, and the cost behind that would have been phenomenal. Shopping center rents, printing costs, staffing. So it wasn't cheap to do, but it was clearly worthwhile because it made them stand out amongst every other travel company. All right, so moral of the story is success is showing up. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You take care, and we'll see you next time.